Welcome to Strength in the Numbers. My name is Andrew Codd, accountant, author and commercial finance entrepreneur, and it's my job each week to bring you leaders in finance and business and deconstruct with them their real stories, insights and hard-won lessons into practical advice on the key strengths and qualities you need to remain relevant in accounting and finance today, as well as the steps you can begin to take to elevate the impact you make to have a fun, successful and rewarding career in accounting and finance. Now let's go over to the show. Hi everyone, and on today's episode we have Marco Venturelli, who has over 35 years of experience in finance and accounting and currently is a CFO at one of Novartis' main divisions. Marco has picked up some amazing experiences in his career. He's been a country general manager, he's undertaken international assignments and led global teams. He's also regularly commenting and contributing on LinkedIn, particularly under the hashtag handles Happy Finance and the Happy CFO. Now this is the first part of a podcast I recorded with Marco. He brings tremendous energy and passion, which is probably a hint back to his Italian roots. It's very fast paced and fantastic insight. And this is the second part of the recording we did together, whereas on the first we talked about sustainability and strategic business partnering. On this episode, we delve a bit more deeper into some of Marco's career experiences, in particular the two best bits of advice he received and that have helped him most in his career, a simple tip to increase the perceived value that we in finance add to our colleagues, and why we shouldn't view influencing so negatively in accounting and finance as we perhaps do. As always, you can find detailed timestamp show notes, links to resources and ways to connect with Marco at sitnshow.com/podcast/026. So without further ado, over to Marco and the show.
I have a very long tenure in finance and business, almost 35 years, of which the most in Novartis, 26 years. Wow. 26 years in Novartis. Thank you very much. The beauty, even though I mostly worked in finance, is that I had the opportunity also to take business roles or global function roles. This has helped me to see things from a different perspective, and that has enriched my let's say finance competencies and helped me to grow in the organization. I covered CFO roles in countries and in regions. In region Europe for Novartis Oncology, that is one of the divisions of Novartis, as well as general manager in Italy, and also a global function lead a transformation project in the area of IT some years ago. I worked mostly in Italy, but also in Basel, that is our headquarter base. Currently, I am the country CFO of Novartis in Italy. The role is new because for the first time I oversee this role, requires the oversee of all the divisions that are working in a certain country. We have shared service centers set up, and more and more the role that many years ago was the classical, let's say, hierarchical leader, now has become a role of influencer, because you are working in such a complex matrix that you need to be influencer. So it's interesting because in this new role they're required to have more experienced people. That's why, despite my long tenure, I really enjoy this job, because the way it is, it's very different from it was many years ago when maybe I did something similar.
You've been there, you've probably seen that change over the 30s. There's so many questions I want to ask about your career, given that, you know, you've worked as a GM, you've done global roles, just so many diverse experiences in there. But Maybe for our audience, if we could distill that down to maybe one strategic insight, I suppose during that tenure, 26 years, Marco, like what would be the main, or maybe a couple of the key strategic insights you've gained during that time that perhaps would be valuable to share with our audience?
The one I was referring is when you go to the business role, because in a business role you really understand what does it mean taking the customer into consideration. When you are in finance, it is you try, but you all of a sudden you are more with people that have a different understanding of the customer, and you learn a lot in that experience. The other one that I liked is when I took my first let's say non-Italian job outside of Italy, because for sure when you enter into an international context you get to know people from very diverse backgrounds.
Yes.
And you really learn a lot. That's why even though many of us, the Italians, like very much our country, and for various reasons.
They were my best friends, half Italian.
Exactly, for various reasons, but really I encourage younger people. They are already doing it more to really take the opportunity of moving out from the country, because you really learn much more in a very short period from these international experiences.
Yeah, and I know on this, again, it comes to this short-term and long-term thinking, doesn't it? The short-term, it can feel really inconvenient and, really outside your comfort zone, but that's going to, in the longer run, contribute towards your better development and your better ability to add more value. In a finance perspective, I completely support that. I just haven't done it as long as you have yet, Marco, so there's still, how do you say, hope for me at the end.
I think that this type of exchanges are really enriching, and that's what I liked in my experience.
The thing I love the most is that diversity of thought, the opinion. I mean, yes, I did have a role in the business, and working with companies, I have to put the customer first myself, but I love the diversity of thought that we have in finance, and that's another reason for this show, is we have strength in numbers across the world in finance. Not that we're only good with numbers, we've great numbers and great thoughts, great opinions, yes, great ideas, and that's why we have these calls. And I don't want to use the typical markets, the American market or the UK market all the time. Again, look, great value, we've lots of people there. We need to share the opinions around and get these diverse ideas out there so we can get a broader perspective, yes, if we really want to be strategic. So that's another reason why we do the show in the way we do it. And look, talking of Italy, if I really was living the dream, I'd probably be in Toscana, because the weather there is much better. And the green is very similar.
As you know, there is an area in Tuscany that is called Chianti-shire, because there are so many English or British people that we had to change and.
Oh, we're taking over,
exactly, we're taking over, exactly, because there are also very nice opportunities of investment in real estate in those places, and so there are really a lot of British or English speaking in that part.
And we can go on our shopping trips then to Milano.
Exactly.
So look, I just want to do some quick fire questions with you, Marco. The first one being, what's been the best bit of advice you've ever received?
I propose two. First, try always to work with great people. This is very important. Select, if possible, or influence, or try to go with a good boss, but also with good team, with good players. Don't be afraid of having strong peers. So don't be afraid of internal competition, because it's much better to play with a strong team than to be the strongest in a medium team. So in my opinion, it's better to be, let's say, the weakest in a strong team than the strongest in the weakest team. We can debate about it. But maybe I'm slightly oversaying. And then the other really that is I use this. It looks like an Americanism to a certain extent, but we have to learn, especially in Europe, in our culture, enjoy the game. So enjoy what you do. Really, we are all professionals. We are very well prepared. We have to really enjoy our daily activities, our meetings, our what we do, because it's a way to be also more relaxed and to appreciate what you are doing.
I love both those bits of advice.
Good.
Again, I wish I had them earlier on. I'd rather have to try and figure these things out for myself.
Exactly.
So you've just provided the way for hundreds of people out there, thousands of people now that are looking at the stats. So just thinking, I suppose, in terms of resources, if there was a book or documentary you were to recommend to our audience, Marco, what would you recommend?
I was mentioning the fact that we need to become greater in influencing people, and sometimes in finance that we have a kind of let's say integrity. We look at the word influencing with a negative meaning, and especially junior people in the organization think, oh no, come on, I am a fact-based person, so I give you the analysis, I show to you what it is, full stop. I learned that is not enough. You have to, whatever is the analysis, you have also to explain it in a way that really is understood by the other party. So I read a book. It's called Give and Take by Adam Grant. It's not a book on finance. It's a book of how in the future you can be successful in a more network-based and let's say matrix-based organization. What does it mean? That you have to give, not only to take, basically, because if you always wanted to take from your colleagues and to take from your company, you will not be successful. You have to give, but give means that, and that's what I like it in this book, is that at the end of the day, if you challenge your colleagues and the thinking of your colleagues in the right way in order to influence them, but then they will recognize the value of the interaction with finance. People don't like that, let's say, they come to you with a project and you just say, oh, great, this is a wonderful project, this is the best project, because this type of, let's say, flattering does not help the project owner to improve the project. While if you get a project and there is a proposal and you are able to challenge in a positive, constructive way, influencing, then really you get the most of the appreciation. And in this book, it is explained exactly this role of the positive challenger that is. I like it also for my teams. I share the book also with my more junior member of my organization, because I find it a very interesting suggestion.
Agree, and you're not the first and you won't be the last to recommend that book on this show. It's definitely worth a read. And
yeah, exactly. It's not. There are videos. Okay, you can also go to these Adam Grant videos that explain already the logic. But it's always, I think, better to spend some time reading, because you reflect a little. The risk of the video is that, okay, you get to the point, you understand for sure, but you do not reflect on how also change your habits. And as we are at the beginning of 2018, that's why this book can help some of our colleagues to really change also the way they show or they present simply the numbers or the outcomes of a monthly review or something like that.
Great recommendation, Marco. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And I suppose maybe that's one area where we need to develop in the future influence. But I don't have to ask everyone this question. It's in terms of the next 12 months. Where could we in accounting and finance be looking to add even more value to our organisations going forward?
My area of focus, as I said, will be to make sure that we incorporate in our objectives some of these externally, let's say, driven sustainability driven measures that are I mentioned at the beginning of this conversation. Moreover, Novartis is also planning to improve the way we show our social value, and so I'm also part of a pilot countries group that is measuring and generating this type of measure that will be included in our financial reporting. So this is a very specific. Then my second topic that it's the one that I ask my teams also to include in their objectives is exactly in improving in communication, working on their communication, presentation, influencing skills, because more and more I see this as area of the base to be a CFO. Today, sometimes I was reading in some of these surveys, and there was also The Economist, for example. There was an article some time ago.
Yeah.
Sometimes the financial analyst of investment banks and so on listen more to the CFO than the CEO, because the CFO to a certain extent is, let's say, more, let me say, less selling proposition, more, let's say, adherent to a certain communication style. But at this point, the CFO then has to also be able to really communicate well, also maybe the vision of the company, or how the vision links with the sustainability and financial results of the company.
Well, look, that's enough there for me to go track that one down, actually. I used to subscribe to The Economist, but I suppose I just really fell out of love with it. I actually don't really read too many newspapers now. It's more white papers and more industry specific, and also got to read that book, Give and Take, during the year as well, which was great.
Did you read it?
Oh, wow. Where was it? Where I suppose Adam Grant really not been on the scene too long, but it's a shame he wasn't around in my career earlier. I thought that was very useful. And also the encouragement to think that most people out there on balance would be givers. So people out there are willing to help. So there's no need to be afraid to go ask.
Exactly. That's why I find it really matching with our profession.
Yes.
Especially in
exactly.
Let's say, in big corporation or mid-size organization where you have a lot of contacts with many people of different kind. So it's a very simple, because at the end it's not a rocket science or very complex theory, but that it's can easily be applied.
Marco, I have to apologise in one way for being so selfish with your time, because normally I only record these for half an hour, allowing a bit of time either side for technical.
For me it was also good, because as some of the ideas that I shared is something on which I'm working on. I didn't, maybe I don't know if you want to mention, I have also a small website. It is called the Happy CFO, and that's where I also, let's say, have some of these articles and some of these topics. So I'm really working on my spare time, as I said, on this type of stuff. So it was good for me also to describe them and to talk about them. It was the first time that I did it in such a long and structured way. That's why for me, I like it very much, this call.
So where's the best place people can find you at if they wish to connect with you?
LinkedIn, I think it's better, because then it's I keep it as it's a kind of specialized, let's call it a specialized part, and so I get a track of the messages and everything. So I think it's the most practical way.
So look, I'll keep working at that. And Marco, thank you so much. I really enjoyed it, and best of luck.
Yes. Okay. Thank you to you and to your initiative. Okay. Have a nice day.
So there you have it. Hope you enjoyed today's show. If you'd like to know more about our guests today, their bio, and follow up on the resources mentioned during the show, you can find all the relevant links and more at sitnshow.com. There you'll also be able to get access to earlier shows, read the latest blogs. There's also an opportunity to subscribe to our newsletter, which will give you heads up as to when the next show is coming out, latest events, news, and anything that's going to be relevant to help you have a fun, rewarding and successful career in finance and accounting. And just before you go, we really appreciate your feedback. If there's something we can do better on the show, something that's not working, or something you'd like to see, even a guest you'd like for us to invite onto the show, someone who you think might be able to benefit you more and also the rest of our community, please let me know. You can email me I'm at andrew@sitnshow.com, or feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Just drop me a message so I know how you found me and we can connect. And really, it's our community that'll make the show. If we keep engaging and driving each other on, we'll keep on building our strength in the numbers. And when all is said and done, if we can do the numbers better and finance better, we'll create more opportunities for ourselves, our friends, our families, our communities and our businesses. So until next time, have a good rest of the week, take care, and let's keep building our strength in the numbers.